The biggest wall of resistance is I don't want to lead with price. If I'm more expensive than my competitor, I won't get the deal, and my competitors are going to start seeing my pricing. That's the main resistance. The second, by the way, side note on that, ROOFLE doesn't know I made this video, but I made a video that's coming up soon. I don't remember when, on why instant quotes are the wave of the future, whether you like it or not. So if you're here and not using one, just like reality check. It will be a thing, and I'll touch on that in a minute if you want me to. And the next thing is the lead quality. So a lot of folks have expressed concern over the quality of lead if someone is already price shopped, meaning when the salesperson goes out there, we're so used to presenting and then hitting price at the end. And by the way, I'm in sales, I get this, but those customers, there are tire kickers, no doubt. And those sales appointments, in my opinion, should be treated differently than a traditional self-generated lead and or a lead that might come through SEO that landed on your website, filled out a lead form, or an exclusive lead source where the homeowner hasn't been price conditioned yet. So those are the main kind of barriers to entry and obstacles that I see. And folks that struggle approaching these leads because they don't know, which we'll talk about this a little bit today as well. You will likely get more leads because you're answering the big question up front, which is what's the project going to cost? But from the volume of leads, however many you actually convert into an appointment, this is what will make or break your success. And so many companies, they get the tool, but they don't know how to effectively implement the tool. So the leads come in and there's no nurturing or conversion process in place to get those people booked into an appointment. So that's the other barrier that I see. But those that crack the code, man, they're freaking killing it. And I'm probably going to get ahead of the game on this. But there are ways people are using this that are less traditional, including using a QR code. So when their team's out door knocking and a homeowner says, give me a quote, because that's one of the fastest ways to reject them, you can say, great, I'd be happy to right now. And now you just captured all of their information. He's like, I'll build it and show it to you. And instead of you having them do it, you just pull it up on your phone, and then there's a reason for you to stand there. Let me just collect some information. I'll show you a quote in 13 seconds, right? Okay, let me get your name, let me get your phone number, let me get your address. There's your house. Yep, click, click, click. You run it for them, and now you converted the lead. So that's one way it's used. And other people are using these even in traditional direct mail letters, door hanger letters. Hey, we're in the neighborhood. By the way, we'll give you an instant quote because the other guy won't. And we all said the number one question is price. If you'll give them the answer to that question, you have a lot higher likelihood of them wanting to work with you than the other person. So anyway, these are just a few of the ways that you can be leveraging this. But what we're going to be talking about later is how to, once we answer the price question and we've captured the lead using ROOFLE or whatever tools people are using, how do we get that lead? How do we warm that appointment up and actually close the sale? So we'll be getting to that next.
Yeah. So how do we build that rapport? So walk us through what pre-selling is and why it's so powerful setting up that appointment. So like, what are some of the techniques that you've used for making that initial connection? If you have some real life examples of that, let's start there. Like, how do you warm up that lead? You've got their lead information from anywhere, from SEO, from ROOFLE, from whatever you're doing. Yeah. What's your first step, and what are you doing to warm that lead up and prep it for your rep?
Yeah, perfect. So let's talk about not roofing for a second. And let's all agree on the very sad fact that we dedicate our entire lives and our livelihood on selling the single most boring thing in the entire world that no one wants to spend their money on. So if we can all agree on this reality, we sell the single most boring thing in the world that no one wants to spend their money on. And if you challenge me on this, I just want you to just wake up for a minute. And by the way, this shouldn't be defeating, but we just need to lay the groundwork. And the groundwork is that if I gave you 20 grand and I said, spend it on anything you want, a roof will not even make your top 100 list. You will go to all of the fun things first, get yourself out of debt, buy a new car, put your kid in college, pay off debt, do a kitchen remodel, buy some ATVs, put the lift kit on your truck, get a new motorcycle. Like, I could continue. So what I wanted to do is say, okay, this is And the other piece of groundwork is that a roof is the single most expensive maintenance item on a home. Repeat that. By the way, if you have a takeaway, if you're like a note taker, sales folks, sales managers, owners, write that down. It is the single most expensive maintenance item on a home, period. Siding, you can push off, not a maintenance item. The only thing that someone's argued me on this is say, hey, well, septic will be up there. No. Septic isn't a maintenance item. Your septic system fails because of lack of maintenance. Your roof is a wear item that are like tires for a car, but there's extra zeros on the end. And people, just like tires on a car, will wait until they're running on bare threads to replace them. Okay. Now that we've got the unfortunate out of the way, and by the way, for the new salespeople, I always say, I'm sorry, you just are learning this now, because in the interview, they're probably like, hey, listen, we sell the most boring thing in the whole world. But anyway, let's put ourselves in the mind of ourselves. And let's say, since roofers love spending money on vehicles, and yes, by the way, Jose, he says, no one ever says, wow, what a cool roof. What's funny, Jose, I've literally had one customer in the history of doing this, and I've been in the business since 2011. And by the way, I know there's people doing a lot longer than me. I had one customer who was excited about getting a stone-coated steel roof, and I'm not exaggerating. He lived in a house that was maybe worth $170,000, and he put on like a $37,000 stone-coated steel roof. And I was like, dude, this is the worst fight. And he was so pumped. But anyway, let's put our mind in the mind of a roofer, because roofers, and by the way, I'm like this too. I love spending money on vehicles. It is the dumbest thing in the world, but so fun. And many of us love doing this. So what do? We go where first? We jump online. We are using Google, or we're using YouTube. And what are we looking for? We're looking for information to guide us to the following: best make, best model, best trim level. From there, I'm going to narrow it down to the next features I'm looking for. Which engine I want. Am I going diesel or am I going gas? Does it make sense to go diesel? I know diesel's great. The torque is awesome. Do I want to spend $400 on oil changes? Do I want to deal with DEF fluid and all that crap? Nah. Maybe the gas will work just fine. It really doesn't matter. Okay, great. So now I got that. Now I want to know, am I going with the platinum or am I going with a Lariat? Is it worth the money on the difference? What is the difference? And then after I decide on this, the next phase of my research is going to include searching for all the negatives. Okay. Let's say I'm looking for a Ford F-350 Platinum. That was one of my favorite trucks I ever had. And I'm going to go look at like Ford F-350 Platinum problems, Ford F-350 Platinum versus Chevy Silverado 3500 versus Dodge 3500, Cummins versus Power Stroke. And if you're anything like me, you will spend every waking minute outside of work on the money you're going to blow on this truck because you're really pumped about it. And then once you decide, you're probably going to start looking at all the upgrades, cost of a lift kit, what wheel and tire combination is going to look best. And hey, should I wrap this thing? And that's what happens is phase two. So before spending money, we're doing our homework. Now imagine if you didn't do that. You go to the car dealership, and for this example, by the way, I don't really have a preference on vehicles. I don't want to alienate anyone here. Although I will say this, I had 7 Fords and I had problems with 4 of them, big problems. One of them got a new engine, by the way, 10,000 miles. So anyway, let's say you go to the Ford dealership and you didn't do any homework yet. What are the chances that you are going to buy a vehicle at that point? Slim to none, right? Because as Carlos said, you're going to have to talk to your wife. Then what's going to happen is you're going to want to go to the Chevy or the Dodge dealer and drive that one. Then you're going to go back home and do some homework, and you will not get the sale. Okay. All right. So now you're in the head of spending your $70,000 to $110,000 on your truck. And you know now that you would do all of your homework up front to be as educated and informed as possible. So you know what you want and you are ready to buy.
And not spend 3 weekends in a row bouncing around from one dealership to another to listen to the hassle of a salesperson wearing you down. That's my least favorite part about it.
Yeah.
I don't like buying cars. I don't like buying anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite end of this spectrum. It's like I want as little hassle, as little engagement with a human being as possible. I want the information in advance. I want an appointment to show up. I want to get the vehicle that I already had reserved.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff.
Justice, are you in sales?
I'm not.
Okay. For my sales friends that are on here, salespeople are the easiest people to sell, and they love buying shit. They just love it. Sorry, I cursed. I don't do that. I try not to do that on videos. Well, that's not true.
Have you seen our logo shirts? You're fine. Don't worry.
Oh, I was wearing mine,
the
the frickin' Send It one. I was wearing it the other day. Love it.
Thanks for
Anyway,
wearing it to this episode.
yeah. Oh, I know. I was wearing my own stuff. My biceps are just bursting out of that tight shirt. I didn't want to make anyone feel ashamed.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair. We appreciate it.
Just playing. So yeah, Don says I love being talked into crap. So the reason that we say this now is I want you to think of your homeowners. When they're buying a roof, they have questions just like you do. They want to know answers to what they care about. Their biggest question is price, but then there are other questions they follow. We'll talk about that. So pre-selling, what you don't know you're doing when you're doing research is you are selling yourself on making a buying decision. And one of my favorite sayings, where's the book? I don't know if it's on this bookshelf or the other one. If you haven't read it yet, Gap Selling by Keenan. Keenan is the author. There's no first, last name, just Keenan. Gap Selling. And in that book, Keenan says that salespeople are change makers. Write that down. Salespeople are change makers. Your goal in sales is to help someone facilitate a change from their current state to their future state. In order to facilitate change, we need to know their desired outcome and help get them excited about committing to that change process. By the way, teaching, instructing, training is all very similar. We're change makers. Now, in order to help someone change, they need information. So pre-selling is the art of seeding information that precedes a buying decision. That is pre-selling. Feeding information that precedes a buying decision. By the way, Justice, thank you for dropping that book in there. It's a great book.
You bet.
I'd recommend it to all sales teams. Now, where most of us go wrong, Justice, does that answer your question on what is pre-selling?
Yes. Yeah, that gives me the, well, I want to know a little bit more about the contractor's actual strategy to, once that lead comes in, what are we doing to warm up that lead? Assuming they've done their research or you're part of their research, how do you grab them and make sure that they don't keep wandering off to everybody else who can get them a quote or anything like that?
So here this is a good question. This is fun. What are you currently doing to pre-sell your customers? That's my question to you. What are you currently doing? Not you, Justice. Are, Ken and Don and Alex and Jose and Bill and Jake, and Ronnie, what are you doing? And I am going to guess that the following responses will come up. Number one, nothing. Number two, making sure they show up to their appointment. Or number three, telling them how great we are. Put a 1 in the chat if any of those fit. And 2, if you're like, no, dude, I'm doing something totally different. So put a 1 in the chat if you're either doing 1, nothing, 2, just making sure they show up for their appointment, or 3, telling their homeowner how amazing you are as a company and why they should choose you. Okay. So that's pre-selling. All right. Now, if that is what you are doing, that is the, see, now I'm waiting for it. And by the way, people see when I'm like fishing for stuff and they're like, well, I don't want to participate. I'm not trying to make you feel stupid. So there are some folks who are, again, negative. I love it. The people that aren't doing that, you're ahead of the game. And we're going to talk about that. So Sebastian, let's get into this. So Ryan says he's doing something different. Kelsey used a number 3, which probably means something different. Negative, a call or text 24 hours beforehand, introducing myself, in a phone call or text the morning of. Sebastian, I love the personal touch. And I ask for what your concerns or needs are. Okay. And then we see some people doing the same thing. So I hope to just blow your mind a little bit because of how simple this is. The myth, here's the myth. The myth is that pre-selling is about convincing the homeowner that you are the best choice for them. I'm a huge fan of Marcus Sheridan, as I know Mike Goldenstein is too. We've bonded over that. And Marcus Sheridan, his book, They Ask You Answered, influenced my YouTube channel. It's how I started. I was like, well, what questions would a roofing salesperson ask? And I'm just going to ask them and then answer them. And Marcus Sheridan showed that people that he would sell a pool to, by the way, if you don't know Marcus Sheridan, he wrote the book, They Ask You Answer. He runs a pool company and he started developing content to drive his pool business. Okay. He found that people that made a buying decision from him consumed, you won't believe this, over 60 pages of content on their website. That's how much time was spent, 60, getting the information on what pool size is right for them, what's it going to cost, all of that. Okay. Now, for most of us, and I don't want to get too sidetracked by the chat, but I'm going to turn my attention to there. There's folks like Don saying I asked a ton of questions, which, by the way, fantastic. Keep doing that for sales qualification. Slightly different than pre-selling. Interview them to find out their needs. Rodrigo, love it. That's something inside sales should do. However, we don't always have the ability to do that if the lead comes through, let's say, ROOFLE of an instant quote, right? There's not human-to-human connection. They get a quote. We convert that quote into an appointment. Sometimes we're doing that online with an appointment scheduler. Alex says we use multiple strategies to verify and confirm needs. Again, we're qualifying it, which is different than pre-selling. But again, Alex, great thing to do. And then Ronnie, I'm brand new. I haven't officially started selling roofs yet. I'm learning. You're in the right place. And Justice beat me to it. And here we go. One more from Ryan. Our CRM sends an automated text to the lead when we are en route and an ETA. I love it. These are all fantastic tools. So what we found is that you guys are doing a great job qualifying and reminding people to show up. But what we're missing is this gap. And the gap is the pre-selling process, which we're going to talk about right now. So back to Marcus Sheridan. 60 pages of website content are consumed. According to the market research that Marcus Sheridan shared, 80% of the buying decision is made by the time they reach out to you. And I would write that down. 80% of the buying decision, which means average price of roof for today's conversation for simple math is $20,000. If I call your roofing company, I called 3 others, right? I have a pre-authorized check for $20,000. All I need to figure out is what name I'm writing on it. That is what he means by the buying decision's already been made. Someone's buying a roof. They contacted your company. Okay. Now, Justice, will you remind me to answer Mike's question toward the end?
You bet. Yeah, we'll cover all the questions.
Yeah, cover that one. Yep. Now, last thing, because Ryan just touched on this, is we have a 24-hour booking confirmation email. We shout out our Facebook site to get as much content to them before we show up and showcase our Google reviews. Ryan, you're getting there, and you are for sure like in the right direction. And I hope that what you gather today can help you refine that even more to make it even more powerful. I'm not implying it's not powerful, even more powerful. Okay. Now, 80% of the buying decisions made, people want to be educated just like someone buying a pool and just like you if you were to buy a truck. Okay. Now, the myths are that the homeowner cares about you. And I have another sad news flash. And by the way, if you are in sales and like you agree with this, you're like, gosh, more people need to know this, then throw a celebration emoji at me. The number one golden rule in marketing and sales is no one cares about you. All they care about is me. What's in it for me? And many of us, we lose sight of this. And our mission to warm the homeowner up is to convince them you made a great decision. We are better and we are different and you should choose us. So what we share with them is information about our company. And then we show them our Google reviews and we tell them how amazing we are. And we include a picture of the owner and his family and kids. And we're like, we're the company for you. And if you are doing that, which by the way, there's a time and a place, don't get me wrong, but I just want to challenge your thought process, because if we all agree that no one cares about you, then the myth of, hey, we need to warm them up and convince them that we're the right person is not the most effective strategy. So now we're going to talk about the fix. We talked about what not to do. Let's get into it. By the way, Ivy says we have a welcome package that goes out. It's a sequence of automated emails educating the customer on our company and products offered. Ivy, love it. Take this concept. I'm very curious to see what you think of these thoughts as we go. If you hate it, tell me. We'll talk about it. If you love it, also tell me. We'll talk about it. So here's the fix. Most of us are talking about the company and the products, but I want to go deeper. The fix is 3 things, and then I'll break these down into key takeaways. And by the way, I have a whiteboard up with all my notes so I can make sure to hit the right things in the right order if I'm looking off. The fix is number 1, to educate homeowners, just like you need to be educated about buying your truck. Okay. Educate the homeowner. 2 is to advance the sale. And I'll go into these in more detail. Advance the sale. And number 3 is to prepare them to make a buying decision. Educate, advance the sale, and prepare them to make a buying decision. Let's get into those. Education about what goes into a roof and why someone should make a certain buying decision is what advances the sale. So I want you to think of this. What information By the way, if you answer this question for yourself, you're going to watch your close rate skyrocket on these. I freaking promise it. What information do you need your homeowners to know before you even show up in order for them to be ready to buy? I want you to answer that question right now to yourself. It'll take too long to type in the chat. If you can, do it. All right. But what information would your homeowner need to know so that when you show up, they are ready to buy? This is the philosophy of advancing the sale. So let's take a look at sales psychology. We're going to wrap this into some specifics here for you, I promise. The first thing that happened, and let's assume that they're getting an instant quote through ROOFLE, okay? First thing that happens, homeowner jumps online and they land on your website. They land on it via a Facebook ad. So they were just like scrolling on Facebook. They saw a Google pay-per-click ad. They searched roofer near me. You had some SEO traffic. They got a mailer in the mail. They looked up your website from a yard sign. So there's some way that the homeowner found your website. They see on the website that they can, so that's their awareness is raised, that they can get an instant price. Oh, I'm curious. I'm a highly motivated buyer. I want to know what it's going to cost to replace my roof because no one else is willing to give me the price. They enter in their information. Now, at this point, they're still not ready to buy. All they know is the answer to the question on price. So we need to continually advance the sale. This is the gap. What information do they need to know? There's a lot there, isn't there? We'll get into this part. We want to, again, advance the sale. So when the salesperson shows up, we're as far along as possible so we can pick up and say, hey, you made the right decision. You can finish writing my name on that $20,000 check. Okay. That's preparing them to buy. So what goes in this gap? What goes in this gap are three main things. I'm going to share a concept and then we'll talk how to deliver this information because there's a few different ways that you can do this. Okay. Top questions. Price. However, price is a can of worms and it is more than just communicating the actual dollar amount, but educating homeowners on what goes into the price. So even though we look at price, we also need to address what? Price objections. Price objections. What are those? The other guy can do it cheaper. Why is the other estimate $4,000 less than yours? Why should I spend more money with you than the other guy? If you don't answer those questions in a way that the homeowner finds valuable to them, you will not get the business. This goes into that question, by the way, that I said I'd answer later. Which I will, which is, do we lead with a higher price and upsell or whatever? We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a lot of content. So example, here's what your roof would cost. Here's how we estimate roofs, the price of a roof. Here are the factors that go into the price, quality of shingle, installation technique, etc. Here's why other people can do it cheaper. Here's why you will always find someone to do it even cheaper. Here's what you need to look out for with the cheaper roofer. Here's why you shouldn't get duped. And here's exactly what to look for in your estimate, because you will get, again, the common myth to educate a homeowner is they're going to go on websites and they're going to say, he's giving me a price. He's giving me a price. He's giving me a price. I have 3 quotes. I'm going to make my buying decision based on feeling and gut. So I liked his website. His website sucked. He was $4,000 more. I throw him out. And between these two, which one do I pick? It's a combination of price and feelings. That's the reality of buying decisions in today's time. So when you're the guy that's $5,000, $4,000 or gal that's $4,000 more, you need to communicate why by empowering the homeowner to understand what it means to go through an estimate. Because I think it is fair to say that if you and I sat down with your cheapest competitor, who's probably doing it for $5,000 less, and you would be able to run circles around it. But the way that you would do it is say, they're not doing this, they're not doing this, they're not doing this. But you need to empower the homeowner to figure that out on their own. So when this guy who's using the cheapest materials, he is not providing any details on his underlayment, his ice and water shield, or peel and stick, whichever market you're in. He's not explaining if he's reusing drip edge and rake edge metal, which is being done. He's not explaining whether he's removing and replacing the step and roof to wall flashing or again, reusing it. He's not explaining what type of pipe jacks he's using. He's not explaining if he's painting the pipe jacks to match the roof or not. He's not explaining what type of ridge vent he's using. He's not explaining what type of ventilation he's using and how much. He's not explaining whether or not that ventilation is sufficient on the roof. I think we can all agree on that. But the problem is when we start justifying our price, hey, we're more expensive because we deserve to be paid more because we have a better price, better product, better service, better company, blah, blah, blah. The homeowner doesn't care. So this is why, again, we need to educate the homeowner on all of those intricate details. Think of it just like training a salesperson. Here's what to look for in an estimate. Here's how to prepare an estimate. And here's how to run. Here's what you should run for the hills. Because if your estimate says remove and replace roof, $20,000, and that's it, you absolutely have zero accountability and zero legal recourse. And if it was a kitchen remodel, would you spend $20,000 not knowing what type of cabinets and countertops you'd get? Hell no. But for some reason, people do it on a roof. And this is one of the most common techniques used by roofers to dupe homeowners. Okay. So price, and again, the expansion on all the details that go into pricing. Next is the process. And again, I promise I'm going to share with you like the best way to deliver this, but I just want you to understand what goes into this pre-selling education. Price. Next one is process. There are 3 Ps. By the way, I failed to mention in my intro, I'm an official sales training partner with Owens Corning. I actually worked with Owens Corning on their advisory panel on developing the Solar Protect model. My training's required for contractors to go through that. I've been flown all over coast to coast for Owens Corning to train their most critical relationships, their highest grossing contractors. I've spoken at the Platinum Conference. And anyway, the reason I share that context is when I was out speaking with them, I had heard, and I'm trying to locate this source. So if you ask me for it, I just need to be clear. I can't point to it. But I'm still trying to find it. They told me, and by the way, these massive companies like Owens Corning, they do market research with a budget that only you and I could drool over. And they found that within about 60 days of a roof replacement, homeowners have no idea what brand of shingle is on their roof. So I'm going to repeat that. Homeowners have no idea what brand of shingle they spent $20,000 on within 60 days of buying it. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they are buying an experience. And where most roofers fall short, in my opinion, is that they are selling a product, which is a transaction, instead of a process, which is an experience and a relationship. And homeowners, as someone mentioned in the chat before, they don't look up at the roof and be like, oh my God, my roof is so beautiful. I'm so happy I did this. What they're concerned about is my roof is finally done. It's not going to leak. I hope I don't have to think about it, look at it, care about it ever again. Like that's it. So people challenge me and they'll say, Adam, experience doesn't matter. And I say BS. Here's why. You can get married in one of 2 ways. Method 1, you spend $50 at a courthouse. Method 2, you spend $50,000 on a party. Why do you spend $50,000 and not 50? For one reason, the experience. People do it all the time. Why do people fly first class? The experience. Why do people go to luxury places to shop? The experience. Why do people make decisions? It's because of how they feel. And your homeowners don't care about the roof. What they care about is the disruption that they will experience going through the roof replacement process. Will my kids be safe? Will I be able to work from home? Will my dog get a nail in his paw? Can my kids play in the yard afterwards? And will my BMW need 4 new tires when I drive over one? By the way, if you've been roofing, you've replaced 4 BMW tires in your life because you can never just replace one. They have to be all 4 at once. So the nail that your crew didn't magnetize and pick up gets stuck in a tire. This, will the bird bath that I inherited from my great grandmother be okay? Are you going to kill, by the way, who here feels like they became I don't even know the word, like a master gardener because of some rare bush? If you've by the way, I'm really curious, put a 1 in the chat if you've destroyed some rare exotic bush in your life and a homeowner was like irate and then you're like, that was it. And then you got the Latin name of the bush and you have to go to the fancy bush store and buy a new bush. Like this is what homeowners care about. By the way, if you haven't killed a fancy bush yet, it's a matter of time. We destroyed a fancy Italian marble table that was imported from Italy once from stuff falling on it. And that was like, dude, what a nightmare. So my point is the experience is what people care about. And what needs to occur in the pre-selling is to educate homeowners on the process of replacing a roof. And you can share how you do it. But what they need to know is the process and the experience for them. So that's your second P. Yeah, grandma's hosta, right? Mitch, you're like, oh, that was grandma's hosta. That came from her farm way back in the 1900s, and they've been split since. So yeah, it's devastating. And I don't tease, like I don't mean to say this to poke fun at homeowners, like what's important to them is important to them. But okay, so we got price, process, and then the final thing that they care about is the product. And that's really kind of enveloped into the price discussion. Okay. So I'm going to pause. Any questions on what we covered so far? Drop them in the chat if you do. And Justice, if you have questions so far, what we're going to move to is the method in which we pre-sell. How do we deliver this information and when we do it? Okay. So we'll get to there in a second, but questions in the meantime.
Nothing's come through just yet. I did notice that somebody had to leave, so I did just want to highlight everybody who registered for this. When this video is rendered and it's ready to show as a recording, you'll get an email for it. So if you have to jump off, no problem. Obviously, we'll miss you, but you will be able to have access to the recording that's going to include the Q&A. We don't stop the recording at any point, so you'll have this later on if you need to jump back to it for reference.
And don't jump off if you can stick around, because we'll be able to answer the questions for you that if you're here. So moving on, how do we deliver this information? There are two ways to do it, and I'm going to explain how I do it. And this process are tools that I have actually built and created. Do you need to use mine? No, I'm going to tell you how to create your own. This is just one of the things that I do for our members of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, is built these tools and these systems for you to just plug in and use. Okay. Now, here's how this works. It's really simple. Number one, you can deliver this by either putting it in writing and creating a consumer's guide. Okay. I have one. You can see it at rsra.org and you click resources. It's called Sniff Out the Scum, the Insider's Guide to Choosing the Right Roofing and Solar Contractor. So our members are using that guide because they're a member, and they can say, hey, look, we're a member of this organization that's been featured in Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, USA Today, yada, yada. And then they also get that endorsement alongside it. But if you're not a member, if you don't want to be a member, I don't care. I'm going to teach you how to do this. You create a consumer's guide and you outline the top questions that a homeowner is going to ask you. If you're selling storm or retail, it'll be different. If you do hybrid, make sure you cover both. For those that are like storm only, talk about the insurance process. If you're a hybrid company, include a little excerpt. If you're dealing with a storm damage claim, things have changed. Okay. So in your consumer's guide, you write out everything in there. It is all delivered in one book, so to speak, for your homeowners to review. I'll talk about how to use this in a moment. Easy way to think of it is just to break it up into categories. Price, process, product. Expand on it as detailed as you can and think to yourself, again, what will my homeowner need to know in order for me to show up and make this an easy sale? Okay. What do they need to know? Now, next way you can deliver this is via video. This takes more time, but can be done in a variety of ways. I'll share the easiest way that's not ideal, but it works. And that is to create a YouTube playlist on your own YouTube channel. And what you can do is create a playlist that says every homeowner needs to see this before hiring a roofer. And you create little videos in that playlist that address every single topic. And you open the video saying, repeating what their question is going to be that they're going to ask you, which is, how much should you pay for your roof? This is a common question. First, you can get an instant quote on our website. If you did that already, hang with me and I'll explain all the factors that go into roofing, the average price of roofing in our market, and what you need to look for in estimates to make sure you don't get duped. Okay. So that's just an example of a video, and then provide the education. So those are the two methods, in writing or in video. In an ideal world, by the way, you'd house all those videos on your website. But the reason I give this fast path is the minimum viable product, the fastest way to get something going means you get results. And even though you could have it on your website, I don't want you to get like overwhelmed and be like, oh, well, I got to get a video editor now. You don't. Like, you can record all this in selfie mode on your phone, fire up your webcam, make the videos, upload it to YouTube. You can have it done in a day or less, okay, in your YouTube channel. So that's why I say here's the fastest path to get started. Now, let's talk about when and how to deliver this information. Method number one is on all of your appointment reminders. So I think it was Ryan and I think Alex had mentioned this. Let's see. Yeah, Alex mentioned it. There's a few other people that mentioned using your appointment reminders. So if you're using text or email reminders, you take this consumer guide or the playlist and you create a very simple email. And it goes like this: Mr. Homeowner or Mrs. Homeowner, their name, I'm confirming your appointment on X date at X time. There's one thing you need to do. Read this guide or watch these videos before I show up, and then empower them. You'll be 10 times more prepared than the average homeowner. Can't wait to see you. That's it. This, my friend, putting a bow on this, is the art of pre-selling. Every text message, every email. And by the way, on your appointment reminders, you're probably going to freak out and tell me I do it too aggressively, but I'm going to tell you on my process. Instant confirmation. When they book it, goes out instantly. You hit them on 2 communication paths at once: text and email. Okay. Why? Not everyone checks email. If you email my personal inbox that's not work, I will respond once a month, probably. Don't email me. If you text me, I'll get it. I may not respond, but I at least got it. Okay. So we hit them on 2 communication mediums instantly. Then we do it 24 hours before. Then we do it the morning of, 2 hours before, 1 hour before, 15 minutes. And if you say, hey, that's too much, that's okay. You can feel that way if you wish. But I will tell you what will happen. You will get people who say it's overkill. If you don't have your appointment reminders set up where people tell you it's overkill, it's underkill, because people won't be prepared. And all you do is you compliment them for the feedback, you thank them, and you say, you're way ahead of the most. It's amazing how many people don't show up. We value our time, we value yours. The reason we deliver all this information is to make sure you got our consumer's guide, because we want you to feel empowered and educated to make the decision that's best for you, even if it's not with us. Thanks for your feedback. I'll bring it to our team and let them know. And then you make them feel special, but hit it hard. Okay. If you want to skip the morning on that day, you can skip that one, but the 2 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes, keep those. Okay.
I'd rather bug you with over communication than waste your time.
Exactly. And you'll be amazed, because I took the feedback once. I was like, oh man, we upset 2 people. So I dialed it back. Bad consequences. Not worth it. I'd rather upset a couple people. And sadly, we're all in sales. You upset people every day. That's like you deal with rejection majority of the time. So the simplest summary to wrap this in a bow is, the minute you get that appointment, your job is to educate the homeowner to advance the sale by giving them the information they need to make a buying decision based on price, product, and process. Deliver it in an easy to consume way in one of 2 methods: a consumer's guide. You can check out the one at rsra.org, and or in video form. And when you deliver that, that should be the only thing in your email. Your salesperson, because think of this. Remember, if you going back to the beginning, and we'll pause for questions here. Going back to the beginning, when you are buying a truck and you're searching for that F-350, what you care about is knowing what vehicle you want, but you will end up at the dealership that treats you right. Your homeowner needs to be bought in on buying the roof. The job of the salesperson is to validate that buying decision once they're there, and to resell the company at that point, and only at that point. You don't sell the Ford before someone picks that they want an F-350 diesel, because it's like there's a million different options in the Ford lineup. All right. So you have to get them educated on the process so they're advanced and ready to buy. So when you show up, you're just reminding them how to spell your name so they can authorize that $20,000 check that they are ready to write to you. That's all I've got for today. We are going to open it up into Q&A at this point. Thank you guys for joining me here. Justice, over to you.
Yeah. First thing that I wanted to do, and I typically will try to hit this, this angle with everybody that comes on. So I've got two follow-up questions before we dive into Q&A. Everybody throw your questions in as we'll hit them. We've got one lined up so far. But so first and foremost, Adam, if somebody is, say, either starting out, or maybe they're working on a skeleton crew, or they're a smaller company, maybe they don't have the budget for automations, maybe they don't have the budget for some of this stuff, right? And they're just very constrained. What would be like the 1 to 3 things that you would say are like non-negotiable, you have to get into your process for pre-selling, no matter what budget you're dealing with?
Yeah, very good question. And let me dissect that, because you said 3 things, and I want to make sure I hit the 3 most powerful. Number 1 is speed to lead is wicked important. There are market research. By the way, if you guys have tuned in, if you're new to my world, I'll tell you now, I'm horrible at math. If you're not new to my world, you've watched me screw at math and videos. My brain's not wired that way. So take what I'm about to share with you with a grain of salt, but the concept makes sense. The market research I've seen, and it depends on if it's B2B leads or B2C leads, states that within 5 minutes of a lead coming to you, if you don't make contact with them within 5 minutes, the chance of you making contact at all drops by 70 to 80%. Speed to lead. Okay. When you have someone that reaches out, you need a system in place for someone dedicated to contact them. That can be an office admin. It can be a third party. It can be an AI call scheduling tool. It can be you, but that's number one. If you don't, you are literally wasting your money getting leads, because if you're not in a place to capitalize or harvest those, it's out of there. Number two, set up an automatic email and text right away. I don't care your budget. If you don't have a budget, you need to make one. Because again, if you're willing to invest money in marketing, you need to do it the right way. And I'll give you an example. Like some people are like, oh, well, I only have $1,000. What's the best lead source? The best lead source is don't spend the money on $1,000, because you're not going to learn enough to optimize your process. You're going to have way too little data. Go out and knock doors. Like that's your best. If you have $1,000, go out and knock doors, right? If you find someone that's willing to do pay per lead deals, maybe try that if they set the appointments for you. But my point is, like, you need to have the right system in place. It's almost like saying, hey, I want to get a roofing sales better than a driver's license. Not going to happen. So get an instant confirmation set up that delivers a automatic text and email to convert them into an appointment. So you have the call within 5 minutes. You have either it's called a tripwire page. After they get the estimate, they have the ability on that page to click to schedule a time and or something in an email. So that'd be the second thing. And then the third thing, from, again, minimum viable product from actionable items, would be as soon as that appointment is scheduled, at the very least, one confirmation email for the appointment and text that does one thing. Tells them to go read the thing, the guide, however you want to name it. If you're an RSRA member, I have all this. I have a copy paste, the appointment reminders, the pre-sale tools, all that. The last thing that you can do, and this is what I do for my community, have a QR code that brings them to that guide. So the way that I teach our community is they have this QR code, and the salespeople, before they even start their inspection, whether it's self-generated or if it's an inbound lead and they show up, hey, Mr. Homeowner, and yes, it's the same thing that went in all the appointment reminders. You say, scan this and read this right now. You'll be 10 times more prepared than the rest. I'll be back down in just a few minutes after I finish your inspection. The homeowner scans this. The way that I have it set up for RSRA is a quick 3-slide slideshow showcasing our mission and purpose is to understand your roof and your needs, show you your options, and help you make a decision, even if it's not with us. The next thing shows the slide, hey, less than 1% of contractors are pledging members like us, as seen on Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, USA Today. It shows them the member pledge and our member certificate, and then says, read this guide. So the homeowner out of the gate says, hey, look, these folks are better and different. They're not saying it. This other organization is. It's been featured in the news. And then we deliver that guide to them. So you're hitting them both in the appointment reminder and when you show up at the house. You will have homeowners that'll say, I already read that. And you just say, great, I knew you would have. You're the kind of person who would. I'll be back in a few minutes. We'll get into this. And now you know that the table is set. So those are the three that I've hit. Did that answer your question, cool, Justice?
No, that answered it perfectly. I always try, because especially here at ROOFLE, we end up with people from every walk of life, right? Just starting a business, midway through, running a $50 million corporation. So I try to make sure that we cater it to, hey, if you're starting out, what is that minimum viable product? Make sure that you have a process in place and a material guide that you can give to your customers as quick as you possibly can to follow up. And then make sure that you are confirming those appointments, and make sure that you're communicating throughout as much as you possibly can. Most significantly, having that guide for a customer and making it available as quickly as you can. Cool. One other thing that I wanted to do, and I'm seeing a couple more questions come through. so we can jump straight to that from Mitch. Mitch and I have been on a ton of meetings together. I would appreciate a recommendation or a referral to a marketing agency that understands the opportunity nurturing.
Yeah.
We do a lot of this already via CRM, call center,
Mhm.
in-house, but current marketing agency is lacking or dragging their feet.
Mitch, based on the fact that you said you have a call center in-house, will likely indicate to me that you're a more sophisticated and advanced entrepreneur who is likely doing pretty well in business. So if that's not the case, if you're like, no, I just got started, correct me. But I want to make sure you get advice that's more specific to you. My advice is don't hire an agency. And I'll tell you why. Agency models, and there are some good agencies out there, but almost every single one that I talk to that I've heard about now has gone through growing pains and quality issues at some point, whether it's through change of ownership or scaling too quickly. And what they do is they define their deliverable to have a box. And a company like yours, Mitch, that sounds more sophisticated, you don't need to find someone who you fit into their box. You need to fit your box around your business. Okay. So with what you'd spend on an agency, I would build it in-house. In our SRA, what day is it today? Thursday, Tuesday, we had one of our members, his name's Scott, peel back the curtains and share his entire CRM, inside view of his Go High level that he built out. He shared all the CRMs, all the lead nurturing, the AI call touch points to get people converted in, and all of these things in there, and review management, timeline triggers, like if an estimate's not delivered within a certain time window of the homeowner, like it sends notifications. They built everything out. That member of ours, by the way, like for our members, because everyone in our community signs an NDA. And by the way, you don't need to be in our community. I'm just sharing concept with you. He said, hey, I'll get you set up. He'll basically sharing the entire template with anyone in our community. But the reason I'm sharing that is he shared which agency he used that builds Go High levels. I can't think of the name right now, but you can go and say, hey, I need this roadmap done, and they'll build it for you. And even though it might cost more upfront, Mitch, instead of finding an agency that you have to sell on the importance of these things, build what you need. And that's one of the things that I love about our community is people share as an open book how they built call centers in-house, including getting the data, management structure, call scripts, pay plans, et cetera. Same thing with building canvassing teams in-house, automating CRMs. It's pretty cool to see what folks are doing and how they're leveraging AI and all that jazz. But Mitch, my advice would be look at what it would cost you to get an agency to do it. Allocate that budget with a lot heavier front end on automating it. And I'll share this last piece and then we'll make sure to hit these other questions. I just got back from a mastermind called Genius Network, and I saw Vishen Lakhiani along with Jake Cass, who, by the way, was one of the 3 authors of ChatGPT. And Vishen, who's running Mind Valley, if you're not familiar with Mind Valley, their app is on almost every iPhone now. He has a system of 4 things that they think about before hiring someone. And this, I think, would be really helpful for you, Mitch. Number 1, it's ASST. Okay. A is automate. Can I automate that process? 2, can I create systems to do this for me? 3, can I simplify things? Like, do I actually need to be doing this? And then 4 is, can I train someone in my existing team to do it? So how I'd apply that to you is to say, hey, what I'm looking to do is like what you talked about in your post. All this stuff can be done in-house and may not need an agency. So could this stuff be automated? Yes. What you need is a mind map, and then the right person to just build it for you and then potentially manage it. 2, create systems on how that runs. 3 is to just simplify it and try to run it out of your existing CRM. It's always easier to just start doing things now and improve later, because I forget who I can attribute this quote to. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So if you're like, I want the perfect system, screw the perfect system. Get the system that's going to work now and keep it simple. So if you can build this stuff into your CRM using webhooks, Zapier, other software that you can bolt in, now you have full control and you can build what works for you. And the final thing is training someone within your company, whoever's running that now, get them doing it for you. So anyway, I hope that helps.
I would put one more point onto that, Mitch. We actually recently did a webinar with Joseph Hughes of Contractor Dynamics. Adam, you're probably familiar with him.
Yeah,
he does a lot of specific coaching on taking marketing in-house and kind of building out your own processes, and kind of like Adam had said, building that box around your own business model. I'll get you an email with an introduction to him and a link to that episode. You can take a look and see if that's something that might work for you. He gives a very high level view of what that might look like for you to take that process in-house.
Yeah.
The next one, I want to get to that earliest one that we had. So from Mike, is it better to set up ROOFLE with higher than market prices, or allow the market prices and then upsell once we show up?
Yeah. Mike, this is a really common question, and I'm very glad you asked it. Do I lead with a higher price and then surprise people, like, under promise, over deliver? Or do I show lower prices like they do in the auto world? And like, get a brand new F-150 starting at $40,000. Oh, you want it to have a steering wheel? It's $100,000. That BS. Same thing with like Spirit Airlines and those crap airlines. Oh, fare starting at $29. And then you're like, you go through it and you're like, oh, I need a seat. Oh, my bag needs to pay as well. And then all of a sudden there's upcharges. So when you think of that feeling that people have, people don't like surprises. There's a time and a place that I understand leading with a hook, like offers starting at, and then you get on the phone, you're like, it's quadruple what you told me. And that kills trust. So my answer is actually neither. Give them as close to accurate as you possibly can. And it's okay to have a disclaimer to say, hey, final price is subject to your inspection. There are variables like additional layers, unforeseen circumstances, rotted decking, and final material choices. For us to finalize that number, we're going to do that in your home together. And again, this is a key thing, together, right? Creates this feeling they're not being sold, but it's an appointment where we're just going to sharpen a pencil together and you'll walk through your options. So Mike, I hope that answers your question. Get it as accurate as possible. Set clear expectations, because transparency is really important to people. And like, I used to be against this. I'm just writing a new page for our website because a lot of people in my world, no one shares pricing. Oh, you want in? Jump on a call. We'll hard sell you. And all of our rates, like our SRA is $997 a month with a 12-month commitment. It's $1,000 a month. And I lead with that. There's no surprises. The only surprise, it says starting at, if you have a 100-person company and you want access for everyone, there will be additional charges based on the service volume, which again is transparent. So I have found that by doing so, you actually get better leads or qualify, because I don't want to spend my time or our team's time talking to someone. They say, oh, I can't afford that. Like, cool. Now you didn't waste your time talking to me, and we didn't waste our time with you, because we just know what to expect. So transparency is super important. Just lead with the most accurate price you can get. And you can even include some of that copy on your website to say, like, no gimmicks. Like, the pricing you see is as close to what we can possibly muster up for you. So anyway, Justice,
you can also throw a price range onto your pricing with an instant quote. So you can give them like an idea of for each individual product. And then, of course, listing out the things that could cost them more, right? If we got to flash 3 roofs that aren't picked up by the measurement, that's obviously going to be a difference. If you got a bunch of sagging, we can't see that from a 1,000-foot view on a Google image.
Yeah.
So the next one that we have here, best pitch to facilities managers. Now, Alex, if you're still here, feel free to clarify this. My assumption is that you're talking about selling commercial roofing and how to make this pitch to a facility manager who's going to pull the trigger on re-roofing a commercial facility. Adam, any insight there?
Yeah, it's a great question. That one's a little like off of our topic today. And I'd love to prioritize answering the questions on today's topic if we can. If there's not any more, I'll hit it, but I just don't want to take away from anyone else.
No, there's a couple more, just that I'm trying to go in somewhat chronological order in case people have had to jump off. Alex, if you're still here, clarify that a little bit for us so we might be able to get a little bit closer. The next one that we have is coming from Kelsey. So we have not converted any ROOFLE leads. What am I doing wrong? I use this script when the ROOFLE lead comes in and they don't answer the call. Thank you for reaching out and requesting a roofing estimate through our website. We hope the estimate provided meets your expectations. If you have any questions or would like to conduct a complimentary inspection on your roof to ensure accuracy and address any concerns, please don't hesitate to let us know. We're here to assist you in any way we can. Best regards.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you for sharing this. I love the vulnerability, and it's jumping out of the page right at me. And that is, you're not telling the homeowner to do anything. So this is where a lot of people struggle with being really good with in-person sales and then struggle when we have to do it in writing. So when we're in person, So let me read this out loud. And Kelsey, I'm not picking on you. This is an awesome learning opportunity. Thank you for reaching out and requesting a roofing estimate through our website. We hope that the estimate provided meets your expectations, which means you're questioning whether or not it did, and you might have fallen short. If not anything other than if you have any questions or would like us to conduct a complimentary inspection on your roof to ensure accuracy and address any concerns, please don't hesitate and let us know. I'm good, right? We're here to assist you. So what I would do instead is say, and again, I think best with my fingers when I'm writing, and I'd polish this language up, but conceptually, this should get you going. First, you need to validate their buying decision. Congratulations on getting your roof estimate, and I'm so glad to provide this estimate to you. The next step is to finalize the details of your roof estimate with a visit to your home that should take no more than X minutes, however long it's going to be, so you can pick your dream product and the dream color that will look fantastic on your home. Click here right now to pick a time for your 100% no pressure, no obligation appointment. Okay. So you're telling them what to do. So we don't, right now you're trying to be too nice. Like, hey, we hope. And if you need anything, like you need to tell them, great. The next step is we need to be out there. You got to pick your color. We're going to walk through. And then again, one thing I didn't share, which I would have, is leading with financing, and ask us about our financing offers to get started with as little as $0 down today. And so many people don't share that message regarding the financing. So again, congratulate them, keep the excitement high, tell them what to do next. The next step is a 30-minute in-home appointment for you to pick the exact shingle in the exact color that will look amazing on your home. Click here to schedule. P.S. Ask us about our amazing financing offers, starting with as low as $0 down. Okay. So that's what I would do to help convert.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that, Adam. On that point, Kelsey, if you would like to book some time with anyone on our success team, feel free to do so. And we can kind of dig into some of this stuff. Like Adam had said, if you are offering financing, we also have a financing tool. We also have just kind of some ways that you can present that. So there might be some value in just booking some time so we can get together to kind of take a closer look at how you're handling these leads and making sure that you can get the most out of them and get the most conversion out of them. Yeah. Next one we have is from Jose. That might be Jose Warren down in Florida. Looks relatively familiar. Let me know if that's you, man. Can you provide suggestions on how to obtain more leads? We're using mailers and street signs.
Yes.
I know this one's a little bit off the topic from today, but we're getting to the end of our Q&A, so we're good.
Sure thing. And by the way, I don't mean to punt questions like Alex, and you said best pitch to facility managers. These are topics that require further background information and understanding. And we could go for days on that. So it depends. Is it storm? Is it retail? What market are you in? What type of facilities are these? Is it slope roofing? Is it not slope roofing? Is this the decision maker? What type of buying authority does that person have? What's your relationship with this? So there's a lot there. But anyway, Jose, the link right above your comment says every lead source and its pros and cons is a link to a YouTube video that I put up. I think it was last week, I want to say, where I broke down every single lead source and the pros and cons. And I mean like every one. I don't know if I even missed one. And if I did, you can drop a comment, but it's hard to give an answer to that question. And I'll tell you why. One, it depends on your company's size and your budget. So if you're spending $1,000 a month on ads versus $100,000 a month, you're going to have very different options at your disposal. The next thing to consider is when you want now money versus later money. Now money is run direct ads, use direct mail, put money in pay-per-click, you will get now money. Later money, networking, building relationships, joining associations, and SEO. Okay. Now money, referrals. So in that video, go watch it. You'll see me kind of break down the path and my best advice on getting started. I look at marketing as the mistake machine, and my job is to turn the mistake machine into a cash machine. And the faster you go through the mistake machine phase, you develop a cash machine. For me in my business, I have spent a lot of money making a lot of mistakes, and now I know what works. So for every dollar I put in, I know what I can expect back out. And marketing isn't marketing, it's gambling until you crack that code. So here's my short version. Go watch that video, determine which lead sources will make sense for you based on what you're doing or not doing. Then take a test budget of money you're willing to flush down the drain, and then say, okay, I'm going to take $5,000. And Ben, let's answer your question. We'll take $5,000. I'm going to throw it at this test budget. I'm going to track the snot out of everything. And I'm going to quickly accelerate my learnings and then optimize and go again. And then once I have it working, I'm going to put more money into it. And I'm just using random numbers. Your budgets might be higher, lower. It doesn't matter. But that's kind of my quick advice. Justice, should we wrap up on Ben's question? That's like a Ben question.
I want to hit one more that's more of a pretty direct question, and then hit Ben's. Ben might have seen some of our episodes before, because I do usually like to end on a question like that. If I get somebody who's in the industry. So we do have one from Dudley. What AI system do you recommend for automated touch points? Do you have like a raw recommendation?
Give me 1 second. I just bookmarked a couple. And I need to see if
I have two. I have one AI and one general automation that you can set up to have scripts. While you're looking for that, my full AI recommendation would be AI Tycoons. They can be found at Tycoons Media. I'm typing that in now. Tycoonsmedia.com. It was a roofing company that started running their own marketing through AI. And then they started to create it into a sellable product, and they now sell that to other roofers. They still run an active roofing business up in Minnesota. We've had them on the webinars before, so feel free to hit that episode as well. I'll put in the link to our success page. You can find all the episodes there. So if you want to take a look at them and see, they would be a good one. And then ProLine, also developed by a roofer, is a text automation, like a communication automation service. So that one's not AI, but it's got some good power to it.
Awesome. And just to clarify this, because I think in the world of AI, people throw terms around. And I know this might seem like semantics, but Dudley, when you said what AI systems do you recommend for automated touch points, these are different animals. AI is artificial intelligence that can do human-like things for you, where automated touch points can be done via software. So for automated touch points, you can build these out in your CRM. Almost any CRM can automate text and emails. This is like super basic functionality. And from an AI standpoint, there are AI callers and appointment schedulers and AI customer support and chat bots. So what I would first start with is identifying what needs you have. And then I know this might sound nutty, but go ask ChatGPT. Open up ChatGPT and say, I have a roofing business and I'm trying to automate call scheduling. How can AI help me do it? And boom, you're going to get all of your answers on different tools, because there's a million of them. Lindy.ai was recommended by someone in our community. I haven't used it yet, so I can't say you should go use it. Vozier for AI calling, again, haven't used it yet myself. So yeah, just think like automating tools. This can be done through most software tech at the moment. And then AI is its own like landscape and animal. And you need to make sure that all of your tools can talk to each other via Zapier, webhooks, or some sort of connections.
Cool. All right. So let's hit with this last one. So I would like to hear Adam's insight into where the industry is going with customers using tools like ROOFLE to shop data or observations. Either one is interesting.
Awesome. Ben, you're going to see a video coming on Monday. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. It's called the AI Revolution. I'm part of this organization called Genius Network, and I was just at the annual event a couple weeks ago, and there was an incredible lineup. RFK Jr. spoke, Jordan Peterson was there, Tucker Carlson, Tommy Mello, Chris Voss, and they weren't all speaking. Some of those guys are members. But the reason I'm giving this context is one of the speakers was Zach Cass. I don't know why my brain's glitching. Zach Cass was one of the 3 authors or creators of ChatGPT. And what he shared with us, because his job at the moment is to go around the country and prepare Fortune 100 and Fortune 1000 companies for the AI revolution. And he gave us timestamps, and I go through all this in that video. So watch that on Monday. It's when it publishes. Over the next 2 years, we're going to see a 20 to 30% global increase in productivity due to AI. Okay. By 2027, which I know it sounds like super far away, but this is 2 years away. Like it's 2025 in 6 weeks. Okay. In 2 years, we will have what's called personal agents and autonomous personal agents or personal assistants. An autonomous personal assistant will work like this. Right now we've got Siri. I'm about to activate everyone's phone. Watch this. Hey Siri, book me a flight from Denver to Jacksonville, Florida on December 11th, leaving in the morning. My autonomous agent will go straight to United or whatever airlines, find the flight and say, hey, Adam, I can get you on a 9 a.m. or a 3 p.m. I'll take the 9 a.m. Do you want to sit economy plus, or first class? I'll sit first class. Boom, credit card transaction occurs. They pay. Everything was done through my autonomous agent. What this means is the death of websites as we know them. I'm going to repeat that. We are about 2 years away from websites dying, or at least beginning to die. The speed at which AI is developing is earth-shatteringly mind-blowing. He said that in our lifetime, what we will experience is unfathomable, that it would be no different than if we had to go back in time to 1850 and explain to someone that we have people living in the International Space Station. Like, you can't even compute those concepts, and that's where we are now. So what I see happening is a incredibly fast-moving landscape where, as Zach Cass says, adaptability is the new strategy. That's his key focus. That if companies are not willing to adapt, you are too late. I believe that tools like ROOFLE, and by the way, ROOFLE didn't pay me to say any of this crap. There's no like collusion here. This is my honest thoughts. I just want to get crystal clear on that. If you do not adopt these tools and learn how to use them effectively now, within 1 to 2 years, you will be so far behind that you can count on closing the doors of your business. That's what I believe is happening. So what I see the future is consumer trends are changing. People want information. They want it now. They want it accurately, and they don't answer their phones. Okay? They want transparency in a connection with a real business that has integrity. This is more important now than ever before. I also see a lot of roofing becoming automated. And if you don't believe me, let's pull something up here. There are, just search this, Google, or actually I'll find it and I'll drop it in the chat. Renovate Robotics. They have already developed a robot that installs roofing. So if you think that we're far behind, we're not. I just was in Phoenix and I was in a driverless car taking a taxi, a Waymo around. There are now robots that can install roofing. They're in beta, but how fast this will accelerate is crazy. So anyway, back to your question directly then. My industry insights and where customers are going. I did a video on this, but I'll explain the topics right now. If you look at the 100% of the roofing market as a pie, there are a segment of the population of roofers that will refuse to change because they're stubborn and because they're intimidated and scared of change in technology. They won't change. They will likely go out of business. They're beginning to expire, in my opinion. The next wave are going to be what I call the hybrid companies, the people that will use an example like ROOFLE to give homeowners an instant quote and still do stuff in person. The next segment of that are the people that are going to go all in on this new tech. One of our members, by the way, and a mentor in our community, his name's Cody Landels. He's doing about $3 million a month, 100% remote. So they're doing all virtual selling, and it's almost all retail, $2 to $3 million a month. And again, in the past, people are like, I have to be at the house. Like, their average sale call time is 17 minutes, if my memory is right. So then there's people that are adopting all in. Then our market receptivity will vary based on age and location. And I think that we're going to start to see a growing trend of people adopting these newer technologies and easier ways of doing business together. So in closing, all of the tools that are at your disposal, if you are serious about winning in business, adopt the crap out of them, learn how to use them as better than anyone else, but don't let AI fool you. Because as Zach Cass said to our community, he says that we need to optimize for that which AI cannot do. In the AI world, they call it the negative space. So what we are working on, and one thing that I'm emphasizing in my community, the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, is to marry the two concepts of helping lead the charge on what it means to stay ahead of the curve through automation, AI, and technology, at the same time humanizing the experience to create defensibility. bedside manners will become the new product. People will choose a company not only based on their ability to serve them quickly, but how they make that company feel. And you're going to see a big divide of the companies that are adopting technology and they freaking suck at service. There's no human element. They over roboticize everything. They're trying to over AI everything, and they're doing it out of greed. That's my opinion. And on the other side, you're going to find people that meet the balance of the AI technology and the tools and resources at their disposal. And they're going to implement humanization, a high touch personal experience, allowing a relationship to occur and supporting all that technology on a human level. And I think those are the companies that are going to absolutely, completely dominate the market. So, Ben, exactly. Yeah. And I put a link for anyone that's interested in learning more about what we do. If you want to be part of the community who's sharing inside secrets to help each other dominate in today's uncertain and fast changing world, there's more information there. And you can fill out the application. We are an application only network, by the way. I have kicked people out. We have denied entry, and it is $997 a month. You get a lot in there, by the way, but I just want to clear that so we don't waste anyone's time. But yeah, this was fantastic. Justice, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for all the great questions. Ben, thanks for a banger of a question here at the end for us to end on.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. This has been so awesome. So once again, everybody, this is recorded. You'll get an update whenever the recording is ready to be viewed. So you'll have that available. And then from there, we've got a couple more coming down the pipe before the end of the year. We've got a yearly wrap up. We've got a new release coming out in the next week or two. So there's some more stuff coming before the end of the year. So stay tuned. But otherwise, Adam, thank you so much for your time. I hope we get a chance to do it again in the near future.
Yeah, love it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you spending your very valuable time with us. I hope you walked away with at least one thing that you can execute upon. Write it down and go do it, because information is useless until it's put into practice. So appreciate you all, and go out there, make a big difference, and do the right thing.
Take care, everybody.